the strange series of arsons that have been happening against religious institutions in the city of Queensboro. At the instigation of Lieutenant Davis, the party has taken on this difficult task and has investigated several locations that were attacked in these mysterious fiery incidents. Specifically, the Vance River Gathering of the the Vesony Lake Gathering of the Spiritualists, and the Falmouth Mordry Temple of the 100,000 Paths. Both seem to be attacked by fire magic through both esoteric and technological means. You caught small glimpses of the assailants. Both seem to be taking some small amount of measures to conceal their identity. But in both cases, you saw mysterious lights. In the case of the Falmouth Mordry Temple, you saw glowing eyes for a brief moment. You've also been sort of cued into some interdenominational tension within the Solonists. You've encountered Lieutenant Davis, who sort of represents mainline Solonism in the Hall of Light, the center of Solonism in Queensboro. You've also heard of the Radiant Dawn, specifically in relation to a missing persons case that Oryx is following. And you've also heard of a sort of militant faction called the True Light, who have a storefront headquarters, worship space, bunker in Falmouth, which is headed by a man named Nalt Manfer. So when we left off, you were still at the Falmouth Mordry Temple. Where would you all like to go?
I was thinking.
I want to see. I'd like to see if the previously we've seen two. We went to two soulless places, right?
We went to a spiritualist and a pather.
So now we're going and so
to the other spiritualist.
Okay, so we have three places. I figure we should go to the third to see if it makes a difference as to what kind of place they are and what kind of location it is. If we can find any kind of triangulation of it, and to see what else we might learn, because the same thing happening two times can be a coincidence, but if it's exactly the same way described the third time, then it's no longer a coincidence. And I'm really curious about as we go to be paying attention to some of the ways that things burned, and how those are going. So I think Pokey needs to ride again.
Ride again!
All right. So you all pile into Pokey, the faithful sedan of Lexi, and make your way to the Vance River Gathering. Just as you head that way, make a religion check. Cyrus doesn't need to because we've already been over this. Background.
A 19!
Nice.
13.
All I can see are my other D20s. Hold on.
I'm pretty sure Lexi has been our most consistent religion scholar so far.
It's a 9. I think I have a +2. So
I guess a lot of people talk about it in the bar.
And,
I think about our lives as seminary students and how much a bar can really be a church. Yeah.
I think specifically in this case, with that kind of role, we'll say that you've actually met Abbess Vance before. She's the spiritual leader of the Vance River Gathering. And it's a little further afield than the other two. these first two locations were both within Falmouth, which is kind of a familiar stomping ground for you all. For obvious reasons, the Vance River gathering place is in Riverside, which is kind of a nicer end of town. It's famously where Oryx went on his date with Vela. Very nice end of town. But what you would know, and I'm actually going to say that Abbess Vance probably isn't like a regular at Lou's, but like maybe pops her head in occasionally. The Vance River Gathering tends to draw a slightly more sort of upper class bracket in town. There's a little bit of popular spiritualism, especially amongst like the wealthy and elite in town. And despite that, though, perhaps because of the iron will of Abbess Vance, the Vance River Gathering is actually a very sort of civic and environmentally minded congregation, and at her urging, frequently throws its weight around on environmental and humanitarian issues in town. So it's not uncommon to see her involved in, civic groups and demonstrations, and even the occasional protest when the city has done something dumb. And she cuts a very distinctive figure. She's about, right at 5 feet tall. Human female, obviously. An older woman with large glasses, gray hair, always back in like a bun or a knot of some kind, and a big smile. Scary smart. Like, always 2 steps ahead of whoever she's talking to. And has a very good reputation. So you all roll up to the Vance River Gathering. It takes a little while to get over to Riverside. Obviously, it's all the way into Riverside.
As we're driving over, Cyrus is going to flip the mantle to look like a t-shirt from whatever the last, one of these rallies that she sponsored that he went to with Nate.
I like that you're using it to replicate clothing you actually own and just can't be bothered to go get. All right.
You're not taking detours.
That's right.
So
Order packing list.
Either that, or it means like Cyrus lost the shirt at some point, or it got cut to ribbons, but he still wants to pretend like he has a copy.
I could see either of those. I would think in intelligence work, you don't probably have a chance to wear a lot of branded shirts like that.
Yeah.
It's probably not safe. So Cyrus is able to direct you all. There's an office space for the Vance River Gathering where they take care of administrative things. But the actual gathering place is on a wide green lawn that overlooks, there's a gentle hill that overlooks the Vance River. And the Vance River, depending on where you hit it, varies in width. But here it is a substantial distance. It's actually very close to a major bridge, like a 6-lane bridge that stretches all the way to the other side. So there's a lot of water. It's beautiful, big green open space. Parking is a little tricky. It's one of those meters you're going to be feeding a lot.
Don't worry, Lexi's very good at parallel parking.
So you managed
She does the rear view camera. Use her mirror.
So you managed to snag a spot, and it might take you somehow get Pokey into a space that if someone else had eyeballed it, they would have been like, that car won't go in that spot. And somehow you just glide it in. it takes some work, but like you couldn't have parked it better if you were able to like push it sideways. So you all pop out within sight of the gathering place, and in this case, the gathering is it's a much larger pavilion, but it's the same kind of model as what you saw at the Vesony Lake. It's a tall, open wood pavilion. You can see that there's rows and rows of wooden pews that have been laid out, but I say pews. You would think pews because it's a religious setting and they're like in rows. They're really benches, like long, but nice polished wooden benches. As you all approach, make a perception check.
And
7.
Hold on. It's less than that. I don't know what it is. Hold on.
And what was Cyrus's?
16.
16. All I heard was teen. So as you approach, the rest of you are kind of like
13.
So we'll say Lexi and Oryx, as you walk up, it's a beautiful lake. It's a beautiful green open lawn. It's a nice space. I would say you all are probably starting to creep on towards late afternoon, maybe even duskish at this point, because you've investigated both places, met up in the morning, drove around several times. So the sun is sort of setting over the Vance River. It's beautiful. You're distracted. As you walk up, Zyra notices there's something weird on the ground. You're kind of looking, and you don't see the same sort of damage you saw at the other two locations. There, the fire damage was massive and obvious. But as you walk up, you're like, something's weird here. And Cyrus, your keen eye is already looking for it. And you can actually see where it looks like a huge section of grass has been burnt out. And then it stops in a perfectly, like, describing like a spherical barrier. Like the fire hit it and went no further. And at this distance, you notice, now that you see this, the rows of seating that are resting on that burned section are just a slightly different color than the rest. Like maybe they've been replaced in the last couple of weeks. So as you approach, there are some folks just kind of enjoying the area further along, up and down river from you. The actual area of the pavilion and the gathering place here is mostly deserted. You see what looks like you see like a couple of folks on boats going by. There's a family walking up the sidewalk. You see a jogger out in kind of the crisp air, sort of going down the sidewalk. And in the pavilion, sort of bustling about, working on something, you see the diminutive form of Abbess Vance. It looks like she's packing something up or setting something up. It's kind of hard to tell. But she seems to be the only person kind of actively moving around in this space.
Cyrus will head over to the pavilion.
As you get close, she has her back to you. And you haven't seen her like seemingly notice you in any particular way. It's gonna be easier if I just look. I'm scoping out your inventory for something. think you have this, and I'll just be sure. Yep, there you go. So you have like a some kind of water bottle, whether it's like a Yeti or a Nalgene or whatever. You've got some kind of water conveyance thing on you. And as you get close, you see her, kind of... And then she immediately turns around and looks right at you. Oh, it's little Cyrus. It's Nate's son, right?
That's right. Good to see you, Abbas.
She gives you a tiny but warm hug. And when she does, like, you can actually kind of feel that same... you become conscious of that same energy you felt at the lake here. Like it was concentrated when she got closer. And she pulls back and says, like looking way up at you, "My, you've gotten quite a bit taller. Were you this tall last time I saw you?"
Maybe.
She smiles and says, "I guess time flows on for all of us. I know it's on the nose, but it's right there. I just had to." So what brings you all the way out here?
A little bit of business. My companions and I were asked to look into the fires, and I understand y'all have one here as well.
Oh, yes, that was... I'm just thankful that the damage wasn't more severe. They caught me by surprise. I didn't expect anyone else to be here in the middle of the night. I'll let you in on a secret. I was mostly meditating, a little bit of napping. Here by the riverside. And as soon as they started doing whatever that was, I came out of my meditative state and was able to bring to bear some of the defenses that the river provides here. But it was still a very substantial fire.
That's what we've seen.
We met with Abba Lake earlier today. I dare say the damage here isn't quite as extensive as it was there.
Yes, thankfully we were able to see... I hate to think what would have happened if I hadn't been here. It's rare that I'm here that late, but we had a service that evening, and I wanted to take some time in reflection after having so many people here and allow the energy of the place to settle again. And oops, I clicked the wrong thing. And clear.
Would it be utterly inappropriate for Zyra to have taken her shoes off?
No. And you notice the abbess is not wearing shoes. Yeah. This is a really common spiritualist thing.
Fair. Zyra's left her shoes by the shoe thing. They're off. She's not going to look strange to anybody else who's wearing them, but
Yeah, it's very common here. And actually, yeah, there would be like a place to leave your shoes near. You all probably walk down a little bit of a path to get from the sidewalk all the way out to the gathering area. And there would have been like a small station with like a welcome sign and a little like shoe cubby.
Yeah. Cyrus' shoes are off.
I dismissed the illusion of my shoes.
She's curling her toes in the dirt.
Everybody make a perception check.
Oh, that's much.
9!
18, okay.
Oryx has stopped looking at the sunset. Lexi is counting how many coins she has in case she has to go feed the meter.
24.
Whew.
I have a 2-point bonus.
With the context of your visit, you all are keeping a very wary eye on your surroundings, and you are noticing a sort of natural emptying of this area as it creeps towards dark. The only boats that you see going by are more like harbor patrol type boats. Most of like the civilian crafts have headed away. You saw the family pack up and get in the van. You see that Jogger seems to be finishing up one of their last laps. It is heading towards actual night.
Civil twilight is encroaching.
I don't suppose you got to look at the person, did you?
Not. Well, actually, this is D&D. We roll for things. And she has very good perception. She says it was a man and a woman. It was hard to see them. By the time I realized they were there, the fire had already started. The woman seemed shorter. She had some kind of hood pulled up over her head. The man had graying hair. It's a strange detail, but before the fire became too bright, I remember that he smiled.
Creepy.
I agree with you.
Or do you remember if either of their eyes were glowing?
Now that you mention it,
You noticed about their eyes.
I didn't see it at first, but whatever they did as they called the fire, their eyes began to glow, and it seemed like their hands were glowing.
Hmm.
Both of them.
Yes, it seemed like something that they were doing together, perhaps.
Were they standing side by side, backs to each other?
She she kind of points out, and you can actually see you can see there's a burned patch, and it's a massive cone, and it looks like it started in one spot, broadened and then moved straight forward. But she says when they did it, they were making gestures with their hands, and they seemed to be working in tandem. I only caught the tail end of it. It was something unusual for sure.
Did the river see anything else?
Two checks. Zyra, make a pure luck check. Everyone else make another perception check.
What check now?
Just pure luck. Roll a d20. What you
I rolled a 9 perception again. I'm busy counting coins.
And Zyra can the perception.
18.
18. As you're asking questions, it occurs to Oryx at the same time. Just has gone by a number of times now. And about this occurs to you, lost sight of him. Because he's gotten off of that and you that has a hood bolt bearing as he for Dr. Zyra.
16.
16. Nice rolls.
You got 11?
I got 11.
That was when I needed the iPad.
So this figure in this hood, they're sort of not quite backlit, but there's still most of the light that's still out is close to behind them. With the hood pulled up, it's hard to see the features of their face, but you do see those distinctive glowing ember spots where their eyes are. And this figure makes a pulling gesture, and two of the front pews, about a third of the length of them, is torched almost instantly. It's like watching a fire consuming a log in fast forward. It starts on one end and just... And as the fire consumes it, you see the fire sort of swirl up, and it's a shining, fiery, serpentine creature. There's... What's unusual is, everything, but also it does seem to have sort of vestigial wings coming off of its back in pairs.
Mom?
That's actually a good point. Oryx, roll an Arcana check with advantage.
With advantage, alright. Well, I don't know if the advantage is going to beat the... 21.
21, all right. You get a weird vibe looking at these. They... At first it's hard to say what it is, but you feel like the features look wrong. Like, something about the shape of this doesn't make sense. Usually, like, fiery serpentine thing, dragon, obviously.
Yeah.
Something looks weird here. So you see this creature sort of birthed out of this, the ashes of this pew, and one of them is going to snake forward.
Kish.
I should swap you all around. There you go. One of them is going to snake forward. 1, 2, 6, and is going to attack Lexi. And
Oh,
another
it's Lexi.
one-
It's fine. She's just get pissed off.
Exactly.
So it is going to try and make a bite attack. It only gets a 12.
Yeah, it needs a 15.
And it got a 7 for its tail. So this creature is surprisingly fast. It darts, its small form allows it to sort of dart under the surviving pew. And it almost doesn't even like come to a full stop. The head sort of blurs across and misses, and it just continues the motion, and a tail of flame tries to smash across Lexi, and you just kind of like, ugh, and the fire breaks across you, and you're totally fine.
Bitch, this is my favorite jacket.
It is Cyrus's turn.
All
So
right,
just to
there's
give you the layout. So I have you all under the pavilion talking to the abbess. One of the snakes has just sort of darted through the pews and attacked Lexi. The other one darted through and is sort of on its way towards Oryx, but ended up running out of movement. So it's about 15 or 20 feet away.
How dare.
The jogger is about 60 feet away from you all, and 60 from you specifically.
Are there 2 snake things or 3 snake things?
There are 2 snake things and the hood guy.
Cool, thank you.
Oh, Cyrus, you're up.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's
he's thinking. Okay.
I'm thinking.
It's a very important decision here. First move.
Because I really want to mess with the hood guy, but I think I'm gonna go after the snaky.
I'll mess with the hood guy.
All right. So and then trying to decide if I care if I shoot it or I stab it. All right. So I'm gonna hex the snake serpent that just attacked Lexi.
All right.
And then I'm gonna shoot it.
All right.
Oh, does an 8 hit?
An 8 does not hit.
Yeah. Natural 2.
Ouch.
Womp. All right, but it is hexed. What stat do you want to penalize?
Doesn't ever seem to make much difference. I'm gonna go with wisdom.
All right. I'll say wisdom and strength are about the only ones that ever matter, because
Yeah.
wisdom will hurt it on perception, and strength you can grapple more easily.
Yeah. I don't see Lexi wanting to grapple Fire Serpent anytime soon. So.
That's true. Oryx, you are up.
All right. Can I get within 30 feet of the jogger?
30 feet. I would think so. Yes, easily.
Perfect. I will get into 30-foot range, and where does that put me in relation to the fire serpent that was coming towards me?
You've got plenty of room to get past it. That'll
Okay.
put it like off to your side.
All right. And then I will cast my new spell, Maximilian's Earthen Grasp. So a giant hand just comes up out of the ground and grabs the jogger.
Oh, dear.
I need a strength save, DC 15.
All right.
Does this have anything to do with Maxwell's silver hammer?
No.
Okay.
Damn it.
He rolls an 18.
What?
I know.
Damn.
He is not particularly strong, but got a 17 on the die.
That's why I went with that against him, because he's a caster, so strength is low.
It was a smart call that just didn't work.
Alright. Well, as long as I maintain concentration, the hand is still there.
All right.
For up to a minute.
For up to a minute.
Then next up is Zyra.
Will shatter hurt the hand?
That is a good question. My
Yeah.
suspicion.
Can I center it?
It's not a creature,
Yeah, I was
and
gonna
it's a
say.
magical object.
Oh.
Yeah, my suspicion is it would make sense if it would, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's just a giant lump of dirt, really.
If it was in your favor, I would say it would, but
It's a magical lump of giant dirt, and so Zara will basically just scream, and that will, because
Oh, wait, sorry. It does still take half damage on a successful save.
all right. How much is half damage?
well, it will take
2.
2.
Well,
All
hold
right.
all right. Wait, what?
It still takes half damage against his spell. Oryx spell dealt half damage.
Okay, cool.
You
cool,
can
cool.
cast shatter.
Thank you.
just
Okay,
like
cool. So anyway, Zyra is casting Shatter against the hooded figure, the jogger.
All right.
Is that one? Let me use this one.
What kind of save does it need?
It is a Constitution saving throw.
That is a 14.
My save DC is 15.
All right. How much damage?
11.
All right. You do also obliterate like 3 sections of pew.
You know what?
They're rich. They could replace them.
I've got some money. And then also I'm going to give Cyrus a bardic inspiration die. So now he's got a little mote of potential swirling around a little circle above his head.
All right. Lexi, you is
thing.
up.
And when you do a thing, you get to do these things too.
All right. So how close am I to the so I'm probably too far away from the jogger.
You are 50 feet away, and you have one of the fire snakes right in front of you.
All right, so I'm gonna just whack the fire snake with my mallet. Well, I'm gonna Hulk out because I'm pissed
All
because my
right.
jack. So
She would like to rage.
I gotta remember where equipment. Thank you. I gotta remember where my rage is. There we go.
And now you can attack.
And now I can attack. So. Man, I thought that was a 19. 15.
15 will hit.
Awesome. And then let me see here. $14 damage.
Cool.
That was about average.
Yep.
That's
Lexi hits hard.
weird.
I mean, it's a mallet.
So you smash into it, and you're a totem barbarian, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it does, when you smash into it, the heat coming off of it is intense. And with the moment when you connect, it flares up. But you can just feel this sort of, this deep, how do I put it? It should burn. It should be burning you. It isn't.
Okay.
So you take 1 point of fire damage.
Meh.
Yeah.
It singed my jacket.
How dare.
How dare.
All right.
Stuff.
So, having been smashed twice by spells, the figure in the hood is looking a little messed up and is very unhappy with the situation. Everyone make a perception check.
12.
17!
19.
What is 9 plus 7? 16.
All right. Everyone except for Oryx, you catch... I mean, you were in the middle of casting a spell. You were focusing on your hand. When this guy takes damage, you see a flicker of something. Almost like a distortion around him when he takes the damage. And he snarls, and his eyes flare up even brighter, and the darkness under the hood deepens. And he pulls something out and holds it up and crushes it. And then he turns and he flings whatever these shards are out into the grass past the pews to the north of this pavilion. And you see giant, shimmering, brilliantly bright, fiery creatures rise up out of the ground. There's 4 of them. They're all 12-ish feet tall and sort of equivalently wide. 2 in the back have the same wings that you saw in this serpent creature. These 3 pairs of wings coming off of them, and they're sort of glimmering as they hover in the air. And there are 2. The 2 in the front are a little less distinct. They're almost like loosely humanoid bundles of flame. And immediately their presence starts like searing the ground under them. You see the grass charring, and you see Vance like visibly like not like a sympathetic pain, but like actually feeling something of what's happening.
Man, I don't know if I have enough coins for this. Well, it better be after hours, so I don't have to feed the meter in the middle of this.
What else is Vance doing?
She hasn't had a chance to act yet. She is in the initiative order.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And you
She's
do
at the bottom of
see...
the
Oops. Yeah, she didn't roll quite as well as you all. Then again, neither did...
Somebody has to go last. It's her.
I mean, then again, neither did the hood one. And you see these 2 figures. Oryx and Lexi are much closer. Even Cyrus is closer. They curve around to avoid the 3 of you and go straight for Vance. And now's the part where I attack myself. First roll is a 10. That isn't going to hit. Second roll is a 15. That is going to hit. It's going to be 9 points of damage to Vance. Oh, wait, hold on. They have to roll with disadvantage.
Oh, good.
And they rolled a 20 on the second. Not a natural, but... Alright. So she is going to take that. And that is their turns. And then she is up next. So you see these giant creatures come looming over this tiny woman. And she just looks at them like... And she clasps her hand and mutters something. And for just a second, as far as you can see, the Vance River goes completely still. Like hundreds of feet north and south, hundreds of feet across, you see the whole thing just stop. And then it's almost like a colossal drop of water hits on the surface, and there's like a ripple across it. And she has too many fun things. So she snaps, not even like a large gesture, just, and a huge section of the water peels away and just slams across these two creatures. You see it very cleanly, like, move around the pavilion without damaging it, and it smashes into these things incredibly hard. And it's a dex save. Let's see if they're gonna save. First one saves. Second one does not save. One of the creatures takes 18 damage. The other one takes 36 damage and is knocked prone.
Sweet. Or just deal 30 damage next time, y'all. No, wait, hold on.
Prone is not unconscious.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna move this towards this.
So she smashes into it. You also see... oh geez, they probably are going to take... Where the water touches these creatures, they like just sizzle away. It's almost like a reverse snowman. You just watch them like down into this water that pools on the ground around you all. And that's going to be her turn. The two other figures, the winged ones, are also sort of fixated on her. And their wings flap back and then flap forward, and they're going to fling giant balls of flame at her.
Goodness gracious. Great balls of fire.
Tis indeed.
I can't, I'm stuck. I'm trapped in here.
All right. First one makes 2 attacks. 1 misses, 1 hits. Second one. Hits twice. Whew. She takes 30 points of damage between the two of them.
I'm starting to feel a little out of my depth here.
Sorry, go for it.
That's how much help I have.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
The guy in the hood you see is kind of backing away now. He brings a hand up over himself and his hand glows, and as he does it, it's like the air around him ripples, and it almost looks like you've seen some invisibility magic before. It's not quite invisibility. You can still see him, but his outline is now like indistinct and hard to see. And he's gonna back up.
Damn.
All right. Back to the top. We have a very injured snake right next to Lexi. It is going to attack. It flaps its wings and hisses and probably doesn't attack with a dagger. That can't be right. It rolls a 9 for that.
That's
So-
not gonna hit.
Yeah, it tries that same combo again. These fiery wings sort of flap frantically, but don't seem to propel it at all, and it lashes out with both ends, and again, just like thunk, thunk. This time you can actually see when Lexi started raging, there is this very gentle, bubbling amber light that's just faintly coming off of her. And if it wasn't like getting dark around you, you'd almost miss it. The second snake is gonna pop back up and attack Oryx.
What? Who is?
Das snake. But it rolls a 7 and then an 8. Highly incompetent
Are you
snakes.
ready?
Fool, I'm a child of ice, I guess, actually.
It's a little complicated.
Fire and ice, like ice melts the fire, or fire melts the ice. Okay, no, that's I'm getting my Pokemon backwards here. It's the end of the day.
All right, it is Cyrus's turn.
Does Vance look bad?
She still looks surprisingly hardy for like what appears to be a spry but decidedly older woman who is about 5 feet tall facing giant flaming creatures. She does not seem particularly weary or intimidated at this juncture.
Okay. Then I'm gonna steady aim for advantage, and
You do have one of the big fire creatures next to you.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're large creatures, and so when they piled on to go after Vance, one of them has sort of slotted into the space behind you.
Okay.
Suddenly have the image of Vance as Ellen Davis. Am I right? Like, come on. You can picture it.
Well, now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it.
It wasn't on purpose. I laid out all these character traits, and then when I read them back to myself, I went, "Oh, that's who that is."
All right. So the one that's next to me, is that one's also engaged with Vance?
Yes.
Okay. All right, then I'm going to pull out my short sword and
Stabby stab.
wait. The one that's prone isn't near me, is it? Or is it?
It's the one right behind you.
The one that's next to me is the one that's prone?
Yes.
Okay. So that's advantage on melee, right?
Yes.
Okay. then I'm going to cast Booming Blade and
Alright.
attack it with my short sword with advantage. I have to wait for Lexi to kill the thing before I can move my hex, I think. So
Get her done.
I'm working on it.
all right, so that's a 16.
16's going to hit.
All right. So that is 10 plus sneak attack is 2d6. So it's going to take 15 points of damage. It is this like thunderous energy. And I am going to bonus action disengage and I guess move out of the pavilion area.
Okay, so kind of the directions you can go to the... If you get too much further to the east, you're in the river, and that's also the direction the fire things are from you. To the west of you is Lexi and the fire snake, but you could kind of go down and around. To the north are the winged fiery creatures, and vaguely in that direction, kind of northwest, is the hooded person. To the south is more pavilion, but it's open down there. So which way would you like to go?
Where's Oryx?
Oryx is about 30 feet away from you, almost due west.
Okay. So I'm gonna move out around, kind of towards Lexi, but with a goal of having Oryx and that other serpent in range.
For melee or ranged attack?
Range.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. All right. You got some good distance from everybody, but you can still... well, I say good. You are out of melee range, but should be able to hit just about anybody from there.
Cool.
All right. Oryx.
Okay, so I'm guessing hooded guy is now out of reach of the hand.
Can you move the hand, or is it stationary?
It's an action to move the hand.
You would have to move it. You could still catch up to him with it, but...
What I will do instead is he still in 30 feet of me?
He is now 45 feet away from you.
Shoot.
But you do have your movement.
I do have my move. And I got a snake thing next to me.
That is true.
Alright. Got it figured out in my head. I'm gonna dismiss the hand.
Poof.
And breath weapon on the snake thing. So I need a DC 12 con save for it.
And what weapon on it?
Breath weapon.
Breath weapon. All right. And what was the save?
I think it's a 12.
Of what? Dex?
A con save, sorry.
Con. All right.
Did you hex?
Hex the one attacking Lexi.
I only roll well when I DM. It got a natural stinking 20.
Okay.
And
Well, then it takes 1 cold damage.
But it's cold. It is cold damage, right?
Yes.
It is vulnerable, so it's going to take 3 points of cold damage.
woo!
So
It's the little things.
you draw in this huge breath, like, and this creature sees you starting to do this. It can like feel the magical energy starting, and it sort of frantically to the side. But the part that manages to catch just shears away the tips of its wings and its tail.
All right. Then I will move my full 30 feet towards the hooded guy, presumably drawing an opportunity attack.
Yep, it is going to take a swing. They have shown... I should clarify. I only seem to roll well when it's a saving throw. When it's an attack... Nope, that is a 16.
That'll hit.
All right. Jeez.
I still might use that on the hooded guy.
Do you have fire resistance?
No.
You have cold, right?
Cold resistance.
Then you take 9 points of damage as this fiery mouth at your back.
Lego.
But you do manage to pull away.
Alright, and now being back in range of Hoodie, I will use 2 sorcery points to quicken cast the Earthen Grasp again.
All right.
So that is again a 15
save.
strength save.
All right. His luck can't hold out forever.
Exactly.
He got a 7. He is, restrained?
He is restrained and he's going to take 2d6 damage.
All right.
So 5 damage, but more importantly, he's restrained.
Yep, he is not going to get any further out. Restrained, and you are concentrating. All right. Yeah, so the hand that had sort of faded back up from the ground, and as it comes up, it sort of reshapes itself and becomes these like swirling tendrils of earth that grab this guy up both legs, and now he can't pull away. All right, Dr. Skylark.
I whisper a series of words that only this hooded figure can hear. And it he reels, and we'll see if he reels in pain or in real pain, and needs to make a wisdom saving throw.
He has a +0, but he rolled a natural 20.
So takes half damage of 11, so 5 damage.
All right. And what is the spell?
It's Dissonant Whispers.
Doo-doo-doo.
I presume I'm still within 60 feet of the figure.
Let's see. You might have to like take a few steps forward. You take a few steps closer and you're fine.
Cool.
All right. I was
And
pulling out the description.
another. I mean, I really want to give Vance a bardic inspiration, but I don't know if I can.
Yeah, you can.
Sure, giving Vance a bardic inspiration.
All right. Vance is inspired.
And be aware this is also still the motive of potential.
Mm-hmm.
So
Fancy inspiration.
that.
So you speak this this word of inspiration, and it actually comes out like a flash of that song, that ritual that you created by the lake. And you feel it even as you sort of speak it into being. The magic of the lake and the magic of the river sort of touch, and the song changes just subtly. But you can feel that this is now as appropriate to the river instead of the lake.
Mm-hmm.
Also, are you looking at your character on paper or on D&D Beyond right now?
D&D Beyond.
You got a little thing in there.
Yeah, I noticed.
All right. So Vance is inspired. And that puts us to Lexi.
Okay.
See if I can.
What is closest to me?
You still have an angry fire snake right in front of you.
All right. We're gonna slap.
Smashy, smashy.
We're gonna smashy that angry fire snake.
Okay.
23.
That will definitely hit.
Oh,
What all the conditions are
Condition with that.
and
Butterman milk.
hit the button. 12 damage.
I was gonna say,
What'd
I
you-
think with rage you almost can't not kill it.
It was a D6, but the 2 looked like a 7, and I was like, oh god.
She rolled a 7 on a d6.
It's magic.
So this thing almost doesn't even see what kills it. It just like sees a shadow, looks up just in time as the ancient brewer's mallet comes down and just extinguishes this thing. And it is just a scorch mark on the wood floor of the pavilion.
A scorch mark that smells vaguely of booze.
So it is
Yeah.
dead. So Cyrus, you'll be able to move your hex next turn. And Lexi, you are now sort of standing in open space. Would you like to move towards anything?
Yeah, I'll move towards the jogger dude.
All right. And how much movement do you have?
I have 30 total, so
Oh, you don't have that fancy barbarian speed kicking in yet.
Not yet.
No, not yet. Apparently,
yeah, it's like-
Make an athletics check.
make an athletics check. All
Yep.
right. Aw, it was cocked and it landed on the 5 instead of the 15 where it first landed. So that's a 10.
You're raging. You have advantage on strength checks.
Oh, that's right, I do. All right, well, 13's a little better. It was on a 10.
That's all right. That's all you needed.
It's just it does not like.
You were right on the edge of your movement capacity, and you got to the pew. So you ran
Okay.
and just you don't even like step on the pew. You just run, and you all see Lexi like again this gentle amber light, and just boom, like step off and jump. And it's not a huge. I mean, it's like a 3-foot tall sort of bench, but like you clear it from like a 1 foot, like a one-legged jump. You just Mario over this thing like it wasn't even there.
Very nice. Gentle, yeah.
The two big fiery creatures. Why did I mark it pink? It is prone, but why is it pink?
Is that from the booming blade?
There we go, booming blade. I was like, okay, prone I understand. I don't know what this is. So it like struggles up to its non-feet. Basically, the fire sort of reforms upward, and they are going to try and make another attack against Vance. Well, natural 1 on the first roll. First one misses.
This is gonna take a while.
Second one misses. So you see both of them. They're just frantically swinging at her, and she's like not even looking at them. She just like is just sort of casually like stepping where they are not swinging. And it gets to her turn. And she is going to shouldn't have given her so many fun things to do. It's a little overwhelming. So she brings her hands down and then back up, and the river that had started kind of flowing more normally again for a second, a section of it just rips off again and starts swirling around her. There's like this aura of river water surrounding her now. And she just smiles at these two giant fiery creatures. The two creatures further back, the two winged fiery creatures, they both swell in size and go from like 12 feet tall to like 20 feet tall.
No.
These fiery creatures are now looming up over this space. And you can see that the area around them is scorched even further out. And they're going to start advancing towards the pavilion. That's their turn. It is the Jogger Priest. When does he get a save on Earthen Grasp?
So here's the fun part. If he wants to escape, it's a strength check. I don't think it'll matter because he probably doesn't have a strength saving throw as one of his two, but to escape is a strength check. DC 15.
Let's see, and that is as an action. All right. So you see this figure. It is trying to pull itself out. It's looking around in frustration, and it turns and looks at you, and you see eyes of flame narrow and look right at you. And Lexi and Oryx both need to make dexterity saves.
Woohoo, dex save.
Okay, I have an advantage on dex against effects that I can see while...
Oh, I got a 10.
Well, you sure see this coming because...
Yeah, I got a 15 and...
Fire giants.
a 6. So I got a 15.
So Lexi saves, Oryx doesn't. The hooded figure snarls, and their whole body glows, and it just shines out. And then you see it focus down into their hands, and they pull them apart, and there is a gleaming ball of fire between their hands. And the ball of fire smashes directly into Oryx, like right where you're standing, and just
I groove most heartily.
This is about the same place where that shatter blew away part of the pews, and now they're just incinerated.
Sorry, pews.
You can't get any more hurt.
I'll get over it.
How bad is this going to be?
How dead is Oryx?
The good news is not dead. The bad news is not good either. So the good news is Lexi made her save and is raging, so she's taking half damage from everything except psychic. So in that case, she's only going to take 6 points of fire damage. Conversely, Oryx eats it. He takes 27 points of fire damage.
Oryx falls down.
Oh, did something else hit you?
I got bit from the opportunity attack.
Oh, I hadn't refreshed your page. Yep, Oryx sure do go down.
Bye, Oryx.
Oryx fall down.
Womp
Which
womp.
means that the hand does disappear now.
Ah, The figure, you're not conscious to see it, but the figure like nods in satisfaction and is going to resume booking it.
Well, damn.
All right. It does not quite get off the map, but there is now a burning pile of Oryx.
I can't wait until I get to the level where I can use sorcery points to have resistance to fire.
But today it's not that day.
Today is that day.
All right. We are back to the top, and the remaining fire snake is going to slither under the pew and go after... no, it's going to go the other way. It's going to go after Zyra. Oops, nope. Again, it doesn't have a dagger. I got to quit clicking that.
It wants one so bad.
You see it like reach down to its side and come back up like... but again, it just totally whiffs. You see this fiery serpent like charging at you. Fangs, tail, nothing. All right, we are back to Cyrus.
All right. Is that serpent within ranged attack range?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Bonus action, move the hex and shoot it.
All right.
So that's a hang on. That's a 13. Does a 13 hit?
13 does not hit.
I'm going to use my inspiration.
All right.
Plus 3, 16.
16 does hit.
Plus the target and each creature of your choice within 5 feet of it needs to succeed on a con saving throw.
Con. I guessed it would be Dex. But it's thunder damage, right?
Thunder damage.
Yeah. For some reason, thunder is often a con check, and it rolled a 5.
DC 14.
It got a 5.
Okay, so then it takes thunder damage equal to the bardic inspiration roll, so 3 damage.
All right, and how much? Because you'll get sneak attack because it was engaged with Lexi.
Yep, working on it. 15, 19, and hex brings me to 23.
Yeah, you obliterate this thing. There is just this conflicting explosion of like this fey bardic magic and this there's this cloud of shadow from your hex, and for a second it resolves into this like rain of feathers, and your attack hits and it all just and another one just disintegrates.
More.
All right. Anything else?
Hooded figure is left.
He's still like barely on the edge of the map.
Yeah, I don't see much need to chase him. All I've got left is my movement. So. Yeah. I'll back up a little bit if I need to, just to not be in closing range of any of the giants. But
all right, you're still a pretty good distance.
Okay.
Close enough that you could go make an attack, but they would struggle to get to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna stay where I am then.
All right, it is Oryx turn. You need to make a death saving throw.
Woo!
That's right.
Well, a 6 is a failure.
It is. So you are in a void, a familiar void. Last time you were here, there was an archway that opened onto a green pleasant meadow with standing stones. It isn't here right now. You can't see anything, but you hear slow, deliberate footsteps coming from somewhere. And it's Cyrus' turn.
I don't remember reading a book this time.
So Kathy wants more puzzle.
I know. I'm like, you're tempted to leave him down to see what happens.
Okay, so in character, you know he's got a little more time at least, and there are threats at the Abyss.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Can you, Colby? Can you remind me what is around the Abyss?
Around the Abyss right now, there are the two smaller fire creatures are like right on top of her. One is very badly hurt. I guess Booming Blade clears after a round, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So one is very badly hurt. The other is pretty hurt. But there are two massive creatures advancing towards her. They look like they are liable to rip the roof off the pavilion to get her.
Are they within 10 feet of each other?
Yes.
Okay. And are they within 60 feet of me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna do another shatter scream
All right.
against them. They both need to make con saves of a 15.
All right. They are big, sturdy boys. Or indeterminately gendered fire angel creatures. What was the save?
15 con.
First one's going to make it. Whew. The second one's going to make it.
So they both take half damage.
Seven.
They take 7 damage.
All
That-
right.
that's-
Both going to take 7. Good news, though. They're both going to have to roll an additional con check. That one passes. That one passes. All right. Anything else?
And we're gonna give Lexi a bardic inspiration. Little D6 motive potential twirling around your head.
The moat is almost tangible as it passes through the air, and when it gets next to Lexi, it takes on a little bit of that amber glow.
Okay.
All right, it is Lexi's turn.
All right. Again, what's near me?
You are
Because the guy's like,
you're 60 feet from the fleeing hooded figure. You are 45 feet in the other direction is the massive winged fiery giants. The two smaller fiery creatures are about 50 or 60 feet away, attacking the Abyss. Oryx is 10 feet away from you, having visions in the dark. Zyra is about 30 feet behind you, back towards the Abyss. And Cyrus is about 50 feet behind you, deeper into the pavilion.
okay. Because I don't have any ranged attacks.
Do you not have hand axes?
No.
Yes.
Yeah, you
I
have
do,
hand
but
axes and javelins.
It's got the thrown property range.
Oh.
Those are javelins range 30 to 120
Then why is it called a melee weapon?
because it's primarily melee, but you can also throw.
You can
Thrown
do both.
or
Okay, so
Thrown
there are
or
things I
weird.
can use.
Thrown weapons can actually be awesome because you can mix fighting styles, and they can be both a melee weapon and a ranged weapon, and get the bonuses of both.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I have daggers.
Okay.
Daggers and darts.
So none of those can probably be thrown far enough to hit the retreating.
If you
Well,
moved
he's-
first, you could.
Okay, so if I move 30, I can throw the javelin.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so I move 30 and throw the javelin. Let's see how I do. Bitch. Roll a 9.
You are inspired.
Oh, am I
So
inspired?
you can add a D6.
Can add a D6. Let me go find my dice. 3.
How's a 12?
That's 12.
That's enough. This guy's wearing a
Sweet.
hoodie.
That's a
like,
good point. He is wearing a hoodie.
So roll damage.
Let's roll the damage.
The hoodie kid needs to make a con save.
he
He
fails
got
it.
9.
All right, 9 from that, and then you rolled a 3 on your inspiration die.
Yes.
All right, you frickin' javelin this guy in the back. Like,
No.
he's caught by surprise here. I'm gonna have him make a check to see how well he runs with a javelin in his back. And he gets a natural 1. So,
I mean, we're hoping to bring him in alive, so.
well, it's sort of a good news, bad news. The good news is,
Okay.
so here's how this unfolds. You have this glimmering mote of inspiration wrapped up in this amber light, and you've already like run and jumped over one of these pews. You reach behind you, and we're in a little bit of hammer space territory because you're pulling a javelin out of somewhere, and you run and just, you know, that like jumping throw. As you throw it, the little mote of inspiration bursts, and that golden amber fire runs the length of the javelin and just and catches this guy like it's like right through his calf, and he just end over end immediately, and it's just like
Such shit, bitch.
and make a perception check.
Fine perception.
Nice.
Ooh, dirty 20.
When he gets hit, you're not close enough to see exactly what it is, but his form shimmers for a second.
Okay.
All right. Anything you want to do with your bonus action?
Let me see what I can do.
Your only bonus actions will be to continue raging,
To continue raging.
to re-rage, or to two-weapon fighting. So I guess you could throw another javelin.
It is a one-handed weapon. I think it specifically says a melee attack, though,
Yeah.
I think you're right,
I think
yeah.
it is,
because
yeah.
I have looked into that exact thing before. Oh no,
That'll
it
be
just
hilarious.
says a light melee weapon. Is it a light weapon though? You could
Yup.
throw. It's
No,
not
the
light.
hand-
You could throw the hand axe.
Okay.
You'd throw with disadvantage because you're a little bit further out, but
Okay.
might as
Let's
well.
see here. Okay, so that's a 16.
That'll hit.
That's the 20, so
So 16.
16. And let's see. 2 damage, 7 damage.
I think with two-weapon fighting, I think it's just the dice, not the bonuses. So
Not the
that's
bonus.
2.
So
Just
Enjoy
enough to keep it down.
it doesn't do a ton of damage, but he's just like, oh, why? Ah,
Because you're ass. Because you said fire to shit.
this guy's
Fire to
now.
arsonist.
He's like pinned through his calf into this lawn here, and now there's like a hatchet just sticking a little bit out of his back, like ah.
I mean, my goal was really to like try and pin him from the hood of his hoodie, like to the ground, but that works too.
All right, it is the two smaller fire creatures. They are still attacking Vance. Rolling with disadvantage.
20.
Miss.
60 is the maximum range.
Okay. Well, I need
And
That javelin, 31, 20.
a miss. Other one attacks.
okay.
And also misses. So the the smaller fire creatures are just sort of swinging fruitlessly at her. And again, just this very it's not even a ton of movement. It's not even fast movement. It's like she's just not where they're expecting her to be. And it is her turn. She notices that Oryx has gone down and turns and looks, and without even fully looking in that direction, she snaps again and points, and a little globule of water whoop up out of the river and shapes into what would be a fun river spirit. It shapes itself into what looks like an otter. An otter made of transparent water. A water otter, if you will. And it bounds almost like there's not enough gravity on it. It's whoop, whoop, whoop. And it comes over and it splashes across Oryx. And you are going to start regaining some health every turn.
Woo!
So that is going to be 1d6 plus... No, just 1d6.
Alright. And presumably that's on my turn.
Yeah, no, one right now. And then it'll start at the top of your next turn.
I have 4 hit points.
Yay! The other thing she does is she kind of cocks her head at the things in front of her and frowns, and another and water just comes pouring out of the river, more than she's used for anything so far, and she is swallowed up in this giant figure of water, and it swells until it it's unclear where her body has gone, because this thing is sort of half in the pavilion and half sticking out above it. And that's going to be the end of her turn. When the javelin goes through the running guy, you see one of the giants stop, and it turns and looks, and its wings are sort of flapping gently. And how far away is it? It's about 100 feet away. It doesn't even move. It just turns and looks at it, and then just emotionally ice cold. Oh my gosh. Well, good news, bad news. It crit. Bad news is it is almost certainly going to kill this guy. The good news is it was not you or the abbess. This thing turns around. Oh my gosh, that's so many dice. It flaps its wings, and a little bit of fire comes off the end of each wing, and this rain of little fiery bolts flies out, and it hits the hooded figure for 41 points of fire damage, and it just chars, and he is now super dead. super dead.
They're gonna have to use his dental records to identify his body.
Do any of us see any flickers while that happens?
If there are, they're almost impossible to see because this guy just goes up like a torch. Like, he is just instantly... There's just charred bone. And that's about it. The Abyss gets 114 temporary hit points. Which is good, because they're going to keep attacking. Giant misses with its remaining attack. The other one miss. And oh, that'll hit. Ooh. Well, all right. That happened. So it hits, but it doesn't do a ton of damage. You actually see this, all of this water around her just soaks this fire. He is dead. Snakes are dead. Cyrus, it is your turn.
All right. So there's still two smaller ones.
At this point, there are both the fire snakes are dead. There are two small ones and two large ones.
Okay. And one of the smaller ones is more hurt.
Yes, one of the small ones is very hurt.
Okay. We're going to move the hex to that one and shoot it.
All right.
16.
16 will hit.
Is it engaged with the Abyss?
It is.
1, 2, 3. And a 6. So 1, 2, 3, 6 plus 6 plus 4. 16 points of damage.
That is enough. It's already sort of like sizzling, and it's been just being eaten away by all of this water. And you turn, and the magic of your hex is wrapping around it, and it's hard to see with all the flame. But when your arrow hits, it suddenly like spills out like smoke, and this thing is wrapped in shadow, and just. And it's gone. What else do you want to do?
How close are the bigger ones?
The bigger ones are getting very close. They are right at the edge of the pavilion. They're like 30 or 40 feet from the Abyss, and they're about 60 feet from you.
Okay. So I'm not... Am I in the pavilion?
Yes, you're to the south of them within the pavilion.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna move. I'm gonna get out of the pavilion. I'm gonna keep moving, I guess, south. Another 30 feet, which would keep me in range of the Abyss. But
So just to give you the idea of the pavilion is like a massive space. It's almost 100 feet long.
oh, okay.
So you want to keep the abyss in reach, but just keep getting further away from the big giant people?
Yeah.
Okay. So we'll keep moving you south. But if you go totally out, you're like off the map.
Ah, okay.
That edge of the world hasn't loaded.
If people are going to start tearing roofs off, I don't want to be.
That is fair. All right. Then, if that is the end of your turn, it is Oryx turn.
All right. So I guess I get my D6 again, don't I?
Oh, yes, D6, top of your turn. The water otter. You just feel this like rejuvenating water flowing around you.
I'm not dying. All right. So I wake up and assess the situation. Hoodie's charcoal. And we have 2 big guys, 1 little guy left.
Yes.
How far are they from me?
You are directly west of the big guys. The closest one is 45 feet. The furthest one is 60 feet. You are 65 feet from the remaining small guy.
Perfect. Which one looks the most hurt?
The small guy has taken some substantial hits. Only one of the big guys has taken any damage.
Screw it. I'm going for the damaged big guy.
All right.
Well, one of the large guys should have at least 7 damage.
They both took the shadow.
To be honest, D&D Beyond just crashed on me a second ago, and I had to rebuild the entire encounter and plug everything back in. So,
Wow.
I do have it open again with all the correct initiatives. Health is a little wibbly-wobbly. Yes. So, both of them have taken a little bit. One has taken a little bit more than the other.
Okay. So I will be targeting the one that's taken more damage. But first, I am swearing up a storm in Draconic. And about the closest approximation in the real world is finished. So it's just a symphony of swears. And so I will start off with just a frostbite at it. So that's a DC 15 con save.
All right. It is a big, sturdy boy.
They're pretty good at con.
Yeah.
That is a 20.
Okay.
Dirty 20.
I was hoping that it being weak against cold might make it get disadvantage, but
You know what?
What?
It has such a high bonus.
it probably wouldn't matter.
It rolls with disadvantage and gets a 19.
Yep. Worth a shot. And then I will quicken cast against it an upcast magic missile.
All right.
So that's going to be all of the dice. That's 5 plus 4 is 9. Plus 5 is 14. Plus 2 is 16 magic missile damage.
All right. Yeah. So how many missiles was that total?
That was 4 missiles total. Each one accompanied with a swear word.
He rolled well enough. All right. So that is Orc. Which brings us to Dr. Skylark.
I'm rolling concentration check for him, so I'm just curious what
Yeah.
he did there.
This time, which one should I whisper at? The hurt one?
I don't know if it makes more sense to try to get one of the big ones has to spend its turn moving away, then it won't be able to hit the abyss. Or you also might be able to drop the.
No, I was thinking one of the 2 big ones.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm gonna whisper your mother never loved you, but I did love her. At one of the large fire creatures. And he needs to make a wisdom save of 15.
All right. Large
Ooh.
far creature.
It's the same as what it was.
Everything is not in the same order that it was. He only gets an 8.
14 psychic damage, and it needs to use its reaction if available to move as far as its speed allows away from me.
All right.
It doesn't move into, quote, a fire or a pit. So maybe it doesn't walk into the river.
That would be convenient. All right. Anything else?
I've got one more bardic inspiration. Who wants it?
I'll take it.
Cyrus.
Sure.
Cyrus.
Too late.
Mm.
Cyrus gets it. And that is the end of my turn.
All right. Then that brings us to Lexi.
Okay. So, what do we have left? We have the big fire things.
There's
Two of them?
two big fire things, one smaller fire thing. The smaller one is pretty badly hurt. The abbess was starting to be hurt, but has now turned into a giant river monster. Literally
Okay.
a monster made of river.
I'm not worried about her. How close am I to the small injured one?
You're a pretty good distance out because you've been chasing dead guy.
Yeah. That's
You
good.
are 85 feet from the little one. You are 80 feet from one of the small one or one of the large ones, and 60 feet from the large one that just tried to run.
Well then I'll go after the large one that tried to run, the 60 feet, and I'll try and throw the javelin again.
All right, roll for it.
Do. So,
Okay.
okay. All right, 21.
21 will hit.
And 9 damage.
All right. Yeah, he doesn't have any special anything. He's gonna make another save. And succeeds.
All right.
All right. It is the little one. The little one is going to try and continue attacking Abbess Vance. Rolled really good on the first one, but has disadvantage. Rolled really good on the second one. This is one of the first ones to actually like make a really solid hit in a while. 14, but it's only going to deal half. So this flaming hand reaches out and tries to rake across the abbess, and it just sizzles into this water. And honestly, it probably is going to take some damage from doing that. And it is the abbess's turn. And you can't even see this tiny woman anymore. Just this living maelstrom of water. And it seems like it took it a second to sort of settle. And it's moving with this ponderous slowness. And then you see it kind of like lift up and then splash down to the ground. And at first you think it's gone away. And then it reforms as this torrent of water that just pours out and smashes across these remaining creatures and sweeps them down into the river. And where it hits the river, you see the river steam, and the water boils, and it like hits these creatures like acid. They start like since you all have been looking for it, everybody make a perception check.
There we go. 18.
7.
5.
13.
13. All right, Orc, make a follow-up. Make a religion check.
Oh, God. We got a +1. 14.
All right. With your perception check, you can see that as they hit the water and are writhing in pain, the creatures that are sinking into the water don't look like they did when you were fighting them. And you can't quite place what it is, but it's something that you have personally never seen before, and something you maybe have heard of before, but something that is definitely unusual. Unusual enough you couldn't identify it immediately. And you just catch this as they under the water. And the water goes still again for a moment. But not like unearthly still, just normal still. There's still a little bit of current flowing along. And then you see the abbess kind of walk up out of the water, just sort of, dusting her hands. She takes like 2 or 3 steps and is no longer wet. It's like all the water is just like left behind and splashes to the ground. And she starts walking back towards you all. It is 10 o'clock. Do y'all want to do sort of your after battle investigation next week, or do you want to go ahead and dig into it now?
Next week.
Okay.
Next week. Yeah.
All right. Getting a little combat in this. It's been a while.
Woo.
I also wish I knew.
D&D Beyond.
Yeah, I don't know why D&D Beyond just like I clicked on the abbess and it was like error report. What do you mean error report? And I kept clicking back and it wouldn't go back, and then I just refreshed and it was like input initiatives. Thankfully you all had killed a lot of stuff by then. It wasn't as hard to figure out. All right. Well, you all have successfully survived this fiery ambush, and
Somehow.
yeah, what ramifications there will be seen next week.
It's fine. Yes.
All right. And we'll put a pin in it there. I'm gonna kill the recording.